Yeah, I almost got him on Skype
Hey
actually.
guys, here we're gonna have a discussion, and we have Vladivostok 3701, Soldier 7, and American Reactionary. Say hi, guys.
Hi,
Hey, how's it going?
hi. I kind of had
Hey, hey everyone. Hey.
All right, so what do you guys want to talk about?
Uh,
always
I don't
there.
know. The status quo in Taiwan, I guess. That's the recent thing I've been talking about with a friend.
Well, what's going on in Taiwan? I'm not familiar with that.
Well, as you know, Taiwan is known as the Republic of China, whereas in the communist mainland, it's the People's Republic. The thing is there's this whole argument between should Taiwan be like a status quo, like still like a part of China, like some type of unification with China, or should Taiwan just be its own independent nation? Because technically Taiwan is more of like a status quo, with China.
Yeah, apparently if you go to Taiwan and you talk about like China, because they still recognize China as being part of their own. So if you go to like Taiwan and you talk about China as being a different country, like they get pissed at you. Same as if you go to like China and you talk about Taiwan being a different country.
Yeah, it's just very strange because a friend of mine who teaches English over there, he's a YouTube friend of mine. He teaches English over there. He's like filling me in on everything, and it's just crazy. Like they're now that the new government is in place, the new leader, she's like there's like some changes going on. Like they may do some changes at like the Chiang Kai-shek tomb or something.
Because it's been like 80 years since the end of the Chinese Civil War. So is it just like the change in the head of government that's
Well,
conflict?
it's very difficult to explain because there are some because the Chinese Civil War it just depends on who you ask. Like some people will say the communists won the mainland, but the nationalists won Taiwan.
Hmm.
But the government is different right now. The government's part of the Pan Green Coalition. They're kind of like the Democratic Party of America and like the Liberal Democrats in the UK and the Liberal Party of Canada. They're the ones who are pro Taiwanese independence,
Oh,
whereas the Pan
Hello,
Blue
Tom.
the Pan Blue
Hey guys.
Well, the camp too.
the Pan Whereas the Pan Blue Coalition, they're kind of more like us. They're more right-leaning in their political views, but they believe in the status quo. So it's kind of a weird thing.
KMT, Bay.
Hey, what's your thoughts on my video,
Wait a
Tom?
minute. I have another question for Soldier.
Everybody.
Do you think that if, hypothetically speaking, of course, do you think that if war were to break out between North Korea and South Korea, do you think that China would back North Korea?
I think that.
Because I've heard recently like they're trying to distance themselves from them.
Well, I
I think
think it just depends on how the rest of the world reacts. Like,
I
I,
think not because you have to admit China's no longer communist. It's just pretending to be.
well, it's really hard to just.
Explain.
Well, keep in mind, Luis, they still try to hold on to every communist philosophy they can. Like they understand, yeah, the free market is capable of being useful and all that stuff, so we'll just allow it to work to a certain extent. But we still got our grip over it, but we still try to hold our grip as much as we can. That's kind of
Yeah,
how the
like
party is.
they don't like North Korea anymore. North Korea you stole trains from them.
Well, to answer Tom's question, I'm not 100% sure. I guess it just depends on how the world reacts to it. Like, if the United States and Japan came to the aid, they probably might. I can't 100% guarantee because I know China is kind of distancing themselves a little, but I can't 100% say yeah they will.
Well, strategically, they still need North Korea.
Yeah, that's why I can't 100% say it because their economy, because believe it or not, China's economy to an extent relies on North Korea.
Because, like, rare earth minerals.
Yeah, something like that.
Who is E. Morrison?
Emerson.
Emerson.
A friend of mine and Americans.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. He's huge. He's big, you know.
They call him, and he's like he's like DeviantArt for me, and I can't see him around.
What's your thoughts on my video I made?
Show us a link.
The Trudeau one with Hank Hill. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
You see the ending too?
Wasn't that his father with Castro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Pierre Elliott Trudeau actually went to Castro's funeral.
Wait,
He was
Castro
really good friends with him.
Wait, Castro threw him. I thought he was still alive. Wait, no. Wait, you mean Fidel Castro?
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Castro went to Pierre Elliott Trudeau's funeral. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wait, was you consider him a closet communist?
I think he definitely had communist sympathies.
Wasn't he from Quebec?
Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
Human.
Well, I know he treated Quebec like garbage. Because I know Quebec wanted independence and say, hell no, different troops to freaking Quebec. Top the up like it was like Canadian.
Well, I mean, he was born in Montreal, but during the FLQ crisis, he definitely sided with the Federalists. He took a really hard stance. Like during the October crisis, which was when the Quebecers were blowing up people's mailboxes and causing mischief, he actually declared martial law in Quebec, which meant that like there was a curfew and there were soldiers patrolling the streets. So that's like it's kind of funny because that's like the closest that Canada has ever come to like having any sort of civil war. It's like a couple degenerate frogs blowing up boxes.
What are you doing, Monica?
Well, I know for America, we had an entire part of the nation secede and form into a country. Then we had to go get them back.
Wait, who declared martial law?
Trudeau's father.
Oh, that's surprising. I think he would have been a cop.
Yeah. So what else do you guys want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to talk about, as I mentioned earlier, obviously the 4th of July is coming up, which is, American Independence Day.
Yeah.
And,
I'm probably gonna go to Freedom Palooza.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what that is?
Actually, tomorrow is I don't know if you guys know, but it's actually
Canada Day. Yeah, I know.
Canada Day tomorrow?
Yeah.
Wait, what is it? Why is it like tomorrow? Why do they choose that day?
Because that was the day when that Canada became a country in July 1st, 1867, which that was the date of Confederation here.
Mm-hmm.
So
3 days before the 4th of July.
So it's basically like Canada's Independence Day, but like sort of not independent.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
249 years.
Yeah.
Slavery.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Canada didn't gain its full independence from Britain until I believe 1982, which was when we lost all the economic and political ties to Britain.
How did you guys get so cucked so easily, though?
What do you mean?
How did your government get so cucked?
Well, I mean,
I think he's talking about Trudeau.
You have to. It's a very complex thing to answer, but basically you have to understand the mentality of Canada. We don't really, as opposed to the United States, we don't really have a national ethos. In America, it's all about bald eagles and freedom and independence, 1776 and all this. We don't have that in Canada.
That's why you have to invent new things like altering the War of 1812.
Well, no. Let's not get into that again, Luis. We're gonna have a nice, friendly discussion this time, all right? But
Luis just
Canadians they define their national identity as being opposite of the United States. So we basically just do the opposite of what the Americans do just to make ourselves feel special. So I've noticed that because I think that my political values are very American.
Yeah.
So when I go around talking about how people should own firearms and we should have more independence from the government, I hear people saying oh, you don't want to end up like those Yankees, do you? Why don't you just move to America if that's what you want? People just seem to think that our identity is defined as being not America. So anything that's not American, that's what we are as Canadians. And so that's how you get people like Trudeau.
I don't even get it because people like to say, oh, they like to call it like if you go on the internet for slurs for Canada, like they will call America Junior, or even went so far as there's one slur in the internet for Canadians, 51st staters.
Well, that's how people like in the rest of the world see Canada, but that's not how Canadians see themselves.
Well, I was gonna ask you, Tom, but go ahead.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything important. You go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, because since we're talking about Canada and we were talking about Quebec earlier, I was wondering, do the Quebec, because I've seen people like the English-speaking Canadians like you and the French Canadians, and I was wondering, do French Canadians and Quebecan people, do they like kind of see themselves kind of like the same way like Scottish people see themselves, like they don't want to be part of Canada, like Scotland doesn't want to be part of Britain or something like that?
Well, I mean, given my experiences talking to French Canadians, they seem to have like, I would say that they have like a persecution complex almost, because they like a lot of these like these people who want Quebec to become an independent country, they'll say that, oh yeah, like we love Canada. You know, we're all for Canada, but you guys don't want that. Like, they seem to think that they're not wanted or respected in Canada, and that's why they want to leave. But, I mean, that's complete nonsense, because any Canadian schoolboy will tell you that, you know, Samuel de Champlain and Jacques Cartier, they were the ones who founded this country. They came here in the early 17th century and started New France, and that's what became Canada. So to say that like people in English-speaking Canada have no respect for French Canadians and that we don't want them here, like we make fun of them. Don't get me wrong. Like we call them frogs and stuff.
Pepsis.
Yeah. But like, I mean, I still want Quebec to be part of Canada. I respect them. I love Montreal. I love Quebec City. I love going to Quebec. So I would hate to see it either.
Not only that, but you're the Hyperborean Emperor. I mean, haven't you captured half of their women's?
Oh yeah, trust me. If they declared independence tomorrow, I would send my Hyperborean Legion back to them, and there would be a giant, there would be like a huge suppression of Quebec by my Hyperborean legions. They would crumble under my jackboot.
Well, I will say this. You Ontario boys intend to be a little more nicer. Like, you guys intend to be a little polite, a little nicer, but it's like when you go into like Montreal or Quebec, it's like, no disrespect to any Quebecans watching this, but you guys are kind of rude. People in Quebec.
Like the French and the snobby frogs.
They're even rude to Ontarians. I mean,
no, they're onto the French then.
Yeah, one time when I was in Quebec City, me and a couple buddies were walking down the street, and some guy, he sped right past us, and he must have heard us speaking English, because he was just like, "Go back to America, you fucking tourists!"
What, you say it like in French or something, or English?
No, he said it in English, surprisingly, but
it's ironic.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I remember my parents, I wasn't with them, but they were eating out at a restaurant in Montreal, and what happened was they just heard like these people speaking in French, and then when the waitress came, they started talking in English, and they noticed that a couple other times, and they felt like you could tell I speak English. Are you just doing that just because of the thing, or are you just trying to screw with me? It's like they were just kind of like that, because my parents.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, it's like, do they just do that to screw with people?
Well, you know what? Like, I can't even really blame them too much, because it just shows, like, their defensiveness and their perceived rudeness. It just goes to show that they have a very high respect for their culture. I mean, they don't want to see, people from America and people from like Western Canada come into Quebec and dilute their French culture and turn it into just like another part of North America. You know what I mean? Like like a lot of people on the alt-right, they don't want to see like people from the third world come into the West and like turn it into like something that it's not. So like I can respect their defensiveness. Like I totally understand how they feel. It's just kind of irritating because like, you know, like people from elsewhere in Canada, like I see myself as like a fellow countryman of people in Quebec, but they don't really see themselves as like being involved in the rest of Canada. So like they don't even like people from Western Canada, and that kind of ticks me off a bit. But I can totally respect their defensiveness. Like I get that. I feel that to an extent with Ontario too, because like I see people from like all around the world coming in, and I understand that, you know, in 100 years from now, like Ontario, the way things are going, Ontario is not going to be the same place as it was, you know, 10, 20 years ago, and that kind of makes me sad. But you know, what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, like I guess I can understand that. I guess I can't. I don't necessarily blame them if that's the reason why. But like, if you walk in and you're talking in English, and then you go up to the hotel clerk or the waitress, and they know you can speak English, and they just do it with you. It's just kind of like, what the frick? I mean, we're not being rude to you.
I mean,
Hey guys, since I'm going to the store, I'm gonna leave the podcast on live, but I'm gonna be jumping in from time to time, so this stream is gonna be long as fuck.
All right.
I have all night, so don't worry about that.
Well, I'll stay around.
I'm probably gonna go play some War Thunder. So, but I'll still be in the show. I'll just be talking. But actually, if you hear me quiet, that'll probably be why.
I'll stay around for as long as I can.
Well, I
If
mean,
we get angry about something, that'll be why.
like going back to the Quebec thing, like I can speak French, so like when I'm in Quebec from now on, I'm gonna try my best to parle français.
Les Québécois.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like Quebecers have this weird accent. It's not quite French. Like the way to tell Quebec
From France.
yeah, the way to tell like Quebec French speakers from French speakers is that Quebec French speakers, they sound like ducks. Like they'll be like, je m'appelle français.
I am from Quebec.
Yeah.
I am from Quebec.
Well, we got a similar issue. We have something similar with the French language in the United States in a state called Louisiana.
Yeah, in New Orleans. That was.
Someone bring some gumbo into this joint.
Yeah, because like it's like when you like the difference between like a Louisianan and like or a Cajun person is what they're called, and like a Quebecan or a French person is like. It's